everybody, Diane Gillison here. And Rachel, I want you to share what day it is today.
It's Pi Day, everybody! So enjoy your apples.
And, and you
As
have
in
to explain it because
3.14. Yes. Mhm.
3.14159265.
uh,
Oh, you know a lot more of the digits than I do. That's awesome.
very cool. Thank you. So we're just getting everybody in and just want to say happy Friday to everybody. We've got the weekend to look forward to, and hopefully you'll have some things to reflect on. And maybe today you're probably not going to get through the whole prompt, but then maybe you can finish it out sometime between now and the end of the weekend. But you're going to find some really good stuff as we go through this. And Laura laughed at me because on one of the prior ones where I was talking about the millions of copies sold, somehow I got 500 million copies sold, but there were really only 5 million copies sold. That's still a pretty darn impressive number. That's our thing here. So generally, we try to pick up bestsellers when we go through these books. And I'm going to go flip over into our view today to be able to do the
Page display, maybe?
That's it. Enable scrolling. Okay. I always forget to do this before we start, but thank you everybody for being patient. It just makes things scroll through a little bit more nicely as we go. And of course, if you feel like putting yourself out there on camera, that's nice if we get to see your face. If not, I can work with it because I've sat in the background too and somebody else's presentation and multitask. Unfortunately, this is a workshop and you're not going to be able to multitask a whole lot if you participate. We'll keep you engaged. Some resources if you need a free version of ChatGPT, you can go to chat.openai.com and go get your free version if you want. And downloading a file, we're going to put a file out there. We're going to put these slides with all the different links and so on as you need. So that's going to go in the Zoom chat for you to go ahead and download. And you can actually open it directly from that Zoom chat after you do the download. So you'll have those as ongoing reference. We're getting together today because AI is just happening now. It's here, and different companies are adopting it very quickly. And employees who use AI and know how to use it to help their employers become even more highly valued. Unfortunately, over time, people who don't know how to use AI are going to be left behind. Just imagine if you came in to your employer and said, I don't know how to use a computer. And a long time ago, when computers first showed up, there were employees that just didn't want to use computers. But AI is the next big revolution that's happening. And so success is a lot less about what you know or what you learned in school for 10, 20 years ago. It's more about what you can do. And of course, from the financial perspective, every one of us wants to be able to work faster, smarter, and more efficiently in our day to day work. And hopefully, AI helps you to find that your work is more enjoyable and we each become more valuable in our role. As far as our teams, other people on our teams, we want our team to be able to work faster, smarter, and more effectively. And it means that we can provide our services and products in more elegant ways and hopefully help our company earn more. And for our clients, we want them to be able to work faster, smarter, and more productively. And you know what? If they're not willing to take on AI, you can use it to help them or you can even teach them how and become their heroes. For instance, if you're a bookkeeper or an accountant, and you can either do things for them in the background and look like you're absolutely brilliant, or you can help them do some things and become more effective on their side. So we're recording this. The recordings are generally available in 5 to 7 business days. If you're not already on our distribution list, send your name and email to this email address, and we will send you a link so that you can get signed up for the regular reminders and so on. After about 10 minutes, we do close the doors. That way, the people who showed up on time get the particular files that they need to use and we're not interrupting people by re-explaining to incoming folks where we are. So, from a confidential information standpoint, we want to be sure that we don't share anything that should be kept confidential within your company or about any specific person. Generally, in the breakout rooms, we don't share what we've shown on our ChatGPT anyway, but just be careful about that. And in the breakout sessions, there's going to be a timer on the screen within the breakout sessions showing how much time is left in your particular breakout session. And then once we close the breakout sessions, there's going to be a short lag before you rejoin the main Zoom meeting. We have not kicked you out. Just hang in there. It'll look like we kicked you out, but we didn't. You will come back into the main session shortly after that. The breakout sessions are not recorded. Just so you know that, the primary session in the background, everything that I do with all of you together will be recorded. And then while you're in breakout sessions, I'm going to be running through what happened to me when I ran the prompt. And that will be recorded. So you may want to go back in and look at that a little bit later. So, how did I get into AI? Well, a little over a year ago, actually, more like a year and a half, closer to 2 years ago, I just started exploring and I dabbled a little bit and dabbled a little bit more and ultimately really got hooked once I started using AI and pretty much ChatGPT. And so then ultimately, because they had some great training, I joined the Simple AI Consultants Group. And there are over 100 AI focused consultants where we share AI training and how we're using AI and different applications and so on. And of course, they do have some fantastic training options, both free and paid. And so I've learned how we can use this for every single role within every organization. So it doesn't matter at what layer you are in your organization, you can become a whole lot better at where you are and potentially add to your value to the organization and maybe even move up into a different role. And in today's workshop, what we're going to do is you hopefully have downloaded and saved the slide deck from Zoom chat. And then we're going to download and copy today's book overview prompt into your chat GPT. And we do recommend using 4.0, or if you're in the free version, whatever version you're able to use within there. And today, what we want you to do is to use, and don't do anything with it yet. Don't copy and paste the whole prompt in and get fast and try to get ahead, because I've got some instructions to go along with that prompt. So I know some of you are very quick and want to dump it in and see what you get. Just wait, get your prompt, get it in front of you, and then we'll talk about it here in a minute or two. Some examples and idea starters that we picked up out of this book called Principles are, first of all, embracing reality and then confronting it. And so I just came up with some examples of things that are reality that face some of us. And then what do we want from ChatGPT? So maybe one reality that we have to face is it's hard to find good employees. And then what's the plan? How do we fix that problem? These accounting records are a mess. So what's the plan to fix them? My car is acting up. So what's next? I have a client who's a pain to work with. So my plan is to do what? So it's facing the reality and confronting it. I'm working too many hours and I need to make some changes. So those are the kinds of things that you might be able to go ahead and put into your prompt as it starts asking you questions. But be thinking about that. Make a note for yourself. If something rises, look around your desk and see if anything jumps off your desk at you that you'd like some help with. And so what we'll do is spend 12 minutes working. You can work individually in your prompt, and I'll go over and look at it with you in a moment. Then we will take 12 minutes in our breakout sessions, and then 5 to 8 minutes we'll come back together as a group and wrap up and share some of the things that maybe we've discovered and at least the parts we've been able to get to. And then I'll share an AI tip. And let's go over and look at the prompt. Now, as always, what I put in is assume you have no prior memories of me or my company. You may not want to copy that. And I'm going to show you something down here See where it says stop number 1? You only want to copy whatever you want out of this section. If you don't want that first row, that's fine, but you could pick up everything after that and put that into your prompt. And just as the highlight here, we use these little double slashes in a space to just visually differentiate different areas within this prompt. Now, after you're done with that first part and it gives you information, it's going to start out and give you a summary of the main concepts. And then it will do that part. And I've asked it to tell you how much time is saved by using ChatGPT just to provide an overview. So the stop number 1 is where you don't want to go beyond the first time. Now, after the stop number 1, you can go in and copy everything after stop number 1 until you get to stop number 2. But as Laura mentioned to me ahead of time, there are steps inside here. I'm not trying to make it complicated, but after stop number 1, you're going to go pick this up and you're going to copy everything. And I'm going to keep rolling down. It's pretty long until you get to right before stop number 2. And then you will copy and paste that into your ChatGPT. And it's going to start asking you different kinds of questions about your specific circumstance. And then after you're done with that portion, then I'm going to ask it again, how much time do you estimate I saved by using ChatGPT? Because it's going to be a different number than how much time you save just to see the overview. Any questions on that? I know I went through it pretty fast. You've really got 3 chunks that you're going to copy and paste, put into your ChatGPT. And the other thing is I'm going to share with you guys, I filled this out and there's no way you're going to get done in 12 minutes. This is another one of those. So on Monday, we had one where we worked on the AI policy. When you start giving it thoughtful, truthful answers, it's going to take you a little while to get done with this. So I would suggest that you keep your chat GPT up and the prompt up so that after the class, after the workshop, you can go back in and continue to work on it, because I found I got very helpful information when I did this. So do we have any questions, or did I leave anything out, Laura or Rachel?
I don't see any questions in the chat, Diane, but I did want to mention in the first set of text that you're going to copy and paste, you should expect ChatGPT to come back and say, oh, tell me about your role, your company, and your company description. So expect that it's going to come back and prompt you for some of that information. And one of the things that you might want to think about is when you're talking about the company and the company description, if you've got a company website, you could put that URL in there as part of the feedback that you're giving it, because it can go check that URL to help provide some more specialized recommendations to you.
Yeah. Context is the way we think of it, not content, but context. It gives it that.
Yes. And
Background.
additionally, those double slashes that you see in front of the sentences, those are just visual cues for us as readers to help set off the information that you're seeing. It doesn't mean anything special to ChatGPT. It's originally from the coding background, it meant a comment in some of the coding languages. So when you see the forward slash, double forward slash in front of the text, that's just a visual cue that this is a new line, this is a new sentence, that type of thing. So don't let those double forward slashes scare you or think that there's anything really special about them. They're just a visual cue.
Cool. Thank you. So I'm going to pull up the timer. We'll leave it on the screen and you can glance up at it occasionally. Not that this is not a contest to see how much you can get done in 12 minutes. Just go ahead and do what you can. And then when we get back together, you'll be able to chat about what are you seeing so far and what do you think, where do you think you're going with it? Starting the timer, I'm going to mute myself and I will see you in about 12 minutes. I'm going to turn off my camera too. Put any questions in the Zoom chat and we'll answer you. You have a little bit less than a minute, and it's absolutely fine if you're only partway through. Okay, we wrapped up our 12 minutes. I heard somebody else knock on the door, but unless it's somebody coming back in who inadvertently left, we'll just have to leave the door closed. Yeah, being on time has its advantages. So, our next piece is going to be where Rachel puts us into different groups. And so you guys can share some of your thoughts about what you've been seeing and share any insights or ideas with each other. Rachel, I'm going to leave this up to you.
And Diane, we also have a set of reflections that we want to have folks keep in mind as they go into the breakout rooms that they could probably share with one another.
Okay.
And if somebody within the groups might take a note or two as you're going through in your groups, in your discussions.
Exactly. And those are the things we have listed here on the slide. And then I'm going to go on to this reflections. And lots of times people just do a screenshot, just some idea starters. And introduce yourself to each other and enjoy.
And we'll be back in 12 minutes. And like Diane said, don't worry. Once the breakout rooms close, you'll come back in. It'll be blank for a couple of seconds, but you'll come back to us.
I'm going to go ahead and we're going to record just some of my reflections. So I went ahead and dropped that first portion of the prompt, and I practice these prompts ahead of time for you guys too, so that I don't send you off into la la land. But I went ahead and dropped the first portion in, and the thing is, a lot of kind of personal stuff can go in here. Sometimes some of these things are a little bit personal, and so I'm not going to sit down and focus on my specific answers because they relate to my company and my viewpoints and that type of thing. But it starts out and asks me to tell about my role in my company and so on, which is what I did. I keep this copied in the background. That comes in handy. And so I went ahead and put it in. And so this was the beginning of the second part after that first stop that I explained to you guys. And then we're going through and it's explaining to me this first section. So seeing the mirror clearly, how principles can sharpen profitability and AI strategy at our company, and so on. And it explains what the value is. And it uses the metaphor about looking in a mirror and wiping the mirror clean so you can see the reality with challenges and make the changes that you need to make to keep your business adaptive and thriving. And then because it knows something about me, it starts talking about me in here. And then embracing reality. This is like one of the steps that they have in here, cleaning the mirror. And then they have a lot of pieces and parts in here to give us some information. And it says your takeaway and dealing with it and so on. So this is really about giving us this overview of what's in this particular book.
And
Okay.
Diane, I wanted to share that before the meeting, I also went through and started taking a look and practicing with the prompt. And I tried it in Copilot. I tried it in the free ChatGPT via an incognito window, so it didn't know who I was. And then I tried it in our ChatGPT that we use in our company. And I have to say that ChatGPT puts up a lovely, much more readable interface than I got from Copilot. Not that Copilot couldn't be trained to put things out there a little bit prettier. But it felt to me like ChatGPT was much more detailed, had better comparisons for when it was describing things and that type of thing. And I would like to go out and try some of the other free GPTs so that I can have a comparison. But as a team, we're using ChatGPT and have been very happy with the results so far. Just to let you guys know, you can use any GPT that you like. AI tool, I should say AI tool, not GPT. So just wanted to provide that feedback, Diane.
Great. So this is the where we went after that first stop, where I told everybody don't put anything in until just put everything before the first stop, and then go in and put the second set of information in up until you got to the second stop. So I copied and pasted all that in here. And then, which is a lot, that's a lot of stuff. And then it starts asking, it tells me information, and then it starts asking specific questions and asks me to answer those questions. So it's gathering context, it's asking me questions so that I can customize what are the principles within the book into my current business. This is a business generally oriented. And they ask things like, what are the biggest challenges you currently face? Where do you feel your perspective might be biased or unclear? How do you currently approach difficult truths in your business? And so what I did was I copied and pasted all of these, and then I went and put those little double slashes in front of the different questions that it asked, and then I went in and answered them. Just to show you how I did this little double slash, and then I answered it, and then double slash and answered it. And it did give me my time savings estimate on just even getting those overviews. And it says that it saved at least 3 to 5 hours compared to self-reflecting and structuring it from scratch. But it says that's going to increase as we progress, especially in steps 3 and 4, where we develop a strategy and consolidate it into an actionable plan. And so I tried to be really honest, very transparent when I put my answers in. There are things that we weren't doing that we could have been, could have, should have. But that helps a lot because when we can get that information in, it's going to help us create a plan to overcome some of those difficulties. And then it gives us a summary. All right. And what I've learned about embracing reality in the past. So you know how you're supposed to, when you're talking to somebody, you're supposed to reframe what they told you, make sure that you're understanding. And I find that's what ChatGPT can do, is it will reflect back to you what you've said and then say, am I understanding this correctly? And then you have that option to go ahead and correct it. Say, no, that's not what I said. That's not what I meant. And you can go ahead and correct it. And then we go into it's step 2, identify the key reality indicators. And it explains what those are. And then it asks a lot of questions for us to answer. And then you go through, I copy and paste all of this. Go ahead and put my little double slashes in so that I can separate the questions and then start answering things. And then we get a summary. After I answer the questions, it's reflecting back to us. And then we're looking down through and saying, here's the current reality, and then indicators moving forward. So it depends upon what it is, maybe what we want to be considering on an overview. And then here's personal workload and capacity. So financial and profitability signals and product and business stability. One of my mentors has a tendency to change things a lot. All sorts of these 5 different areas, it's giving us that feedback. So that pretty much gives us for step 2. Step 3, in this case, is developing a strategy to deal with reality. And sometimes reality is just hard. And it's just easier to not think about reality. And so now they're developing a strategy to deal with reality. And again, the same kind of outline is giving us a series of questions that we can, under different topics, that we can go out and answer. And then as we get down towards, I've answered all that. And step 3, action plan. And it gives me some nice little charts and graphs. And we consolidate it here into our reality strategy plan. And I sent this over to Laura before we met and said, here's what I got. Laura, what did you think?
I was overwhelmingly impressed. It just was easy to read, easy to understand, written in clear, concise language. Love the tables. Oh, and I see that Kim's got a question. Kim, you got your hand raised.
Okay. I've been practicing, Diane, and I was instead of putting the slashes for my questions, I was putting a question mark. And when I did the question mark, it was pulling information back about me instead of the way this is. I love the way this schematically is not ideal. It's not about you personally. It's not about your business personally. But for some reason, when I was putting the question marks, it was literally targeting back to me personally. So if I put the slashes, it won't bring it back to me personally. It'll be more globally focused.
There was something at the very beginning of the prompt. Okay, let me pull the prompt up. Yeah, people are going to start coming back in. Look at the beginning of the prompt, Kim.
Okay.
I had
All right.
told it to do that, and I think if you put a question mark in, you're asking ChatGPT to tell you what it
That's
knows
what I
about
thought.
you. Yeah.
Okay.
So it looks like we've got everybody coming back. And if you want to see some of my reflections on what I did, you could go back and watch the recording that will come out probably next Thursday or Friday.
Mhm.
And let's get back together as a group and spend a little bit of time, like my picture of a takeaway down here. And maybe one or two people from each group, we're going to just chat briefly about what you found within your group, what you shared within your group.
Okay, I'll go
And
for Lori and I.
okay,
Okay. What surprised me the most about the responses were just the level of detail. And of course, you provided the prompts, which I would not have been detailed about if I was asking a question. So I love the prompts that you provided and the fact that it can go to any business, really. Any of us can use that or tailor it for ourselves. And so, but the responses, I mean, my gosh, ChatGPT was so detailed in the information that it gave back, and then it asked additional questions, and then you were able to continue the chat. So that was fantastic. And then the AI generated actions, it gave me specific recommendations that I should do. But one thing Lori was saying, you might want to ask it to also provide a chart or something like that that can help you even further. So I haven't done any of that yet, but it did give me like specific things to do to work on my estimates and to establish KPIs and things like that. So for my business, and then the challenges or barriers that might come up when applying these suggestions are just basically for me is just time and mindset. Actually saying, okay, I'm going to do this. Like it gave me some really great suggestions. So now I have to implement them. And so that takes a little bit of time to shift gears.
sure. And the cool thing is that you can ask AI to help you implement those things faster. Keep using AI first, keep thinking about AI. And when it tells you to do something, just go back in and say, what's the fastest, easiest way for me to do this?
Okay, love it.
Yeah, use it to help you. Any other reflections from that group?
No, she covered it. We both agreed on that.
Great. And our other group, who was in our other group that's willing to speak up? Did we potentially,
Priscilla?
let's see, I'm seeing Priscilla and Dick.
Okay, so we had in our group Shy, I believe. Hopefully I said your name correctly, and Dick. I don't think he was able to speak, but our conversation, we really discussed the fact that ChatGPT came up with a lot of great detail as to the prompts that we put in. We talked about how we can better direct ChatGPT as far as research, as Shy mentioned, in regards to getting it to do some deeper research for us and ways that we can ask it certain questions that we haven't seen here in the prompt, which the prompts here are great, but how could we further like dig into what ChatGPT can offer us for myself, for my business and financial services. And Shy, I think mentioned she's with Apple. Yeah, so that was the point of our discussion, is more so like how can we further use ChatGPT and then using this as a framework.
Okay, good. And so I want to mention that I am picking up a portion of the prompts from the Simple AI Academy group. And if you want to learn how to write great prompts, get in touch with me and I can go ahead and show you how you can get into the deeper side of learning how to write good prompts and to increase your profitability and your effectiveness and that type of thing. Just mentioning that in passing, because I don't dream these prompts up from scratch. Sometimes I change them. They give me some good ideas to start with, and then I turn around and test them and change them to work with you guys. So a little bit of this is the quick ad about InfoPlus Consulting. Of course, I've been around for a little over 30 years with InfoPlus Consulting. It used to be InfoPlus Accounting. And since we've rolled AI into our training modes and so on, we're now InfoPlus Consulting. But if you have interest in job costing or any of the other kinds of tools, there are links out here. You can go out and see. I've developed all of these particular tools myself for my clients and to help them move their way through the job costing process. And also, if you happen to be coming in from Alignable and maybe you're not on our mailing list, you can send something to this email and we'll give you a way to pick up this 10 ways AI training transforms teams and drives results, and also get you into our list so that you would get any of our solutions, newsletters, or announcements. And then here's my Calendly link. If you'd like to learn more about doing in-depth learning a lot more about ChatGPT or AI, talk to me. I am not a high pressure salesperson. I will just provide you with information that will help you customize the kinds of things that you want to do. On the AI tips, now on Tuesday, we did a thing about setting up your AI policy, and then just you can ask ChatGPT, how much time do you estimate I saved by using ChatGPT to do whatever? In this case, our AI policy on Tuesday it saved us 29 to 44 hours. And none of us loves writing policies, but we came up with something. And again, I work on my work. I put in stuff that I'm working on. So I get benefit not only from hoping that you guys might want to pick up some of our products and services, but I get something done when I do these prompts. And as you saw, maybe you didn't see during the recording, but if you watch the recording, you'll see that I filled all this out for our company and our current circumstances. So I get the benefit of that along with whatever benefit you guys get. So we share in that. So, looking ahead, one idea to try before our next workshop, I'm bringing this up again. We did this on Tuesday, talked about it, but I don't know about you, but lots of times I have to hear the same thing more than once. So here's an idea. Again, try it. Write a script for internal staff or a client training session, something that you might stumble over that you don't say smoothly. Go ahead and write it up and make it sound the way you really want it to sound and keep that as a script. And after you've practiced it and used it a dozen times, it's just going to flow off your tongue. And I did share a little bit about a long time ago. I worked for Olin Mills Photography Studios. And on Tuesday, I shared a little story about how I almost got fired because I wasn't reading the script. Coming up on Tuesday, 3:25, our next thing is an event. Have AI help you plan an event. We all have some sort of events that sooner or later, even though we may try to avoid it, we might be in charge of it. Maybe it's a family celebration, it's a webinar, you're going to do a tabletop event, some sort of a organizational event. Let AI help you. You're going to put that event in, provide it with some parameters, and it's going to help you with that. And then our next book is going to be Moneyball. And I don't know if any of you have seen the movie, but the movie was really intriguing. And so we're going to take those principles from Moneyball and help apply them to your own business. So that should be fun.
Diane,
Yes.
don't you have another event, not your event, that you need to announce as well?
Oh, thank you. Yes, yes. I did send out to everybody in our mailing list Steve Cunningham, who is the head of Simple AI. Just Simple. I want to call it Simple AI, but Simple. And on Monday at 2:00, he's going to do a presentation. It'll be, oh, he says it's 30 minutes, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be closer to 45. But he is a great presenter, and he is going to go through a huge presentation about where's AI been, where's AI going. He's very future forward thinking kind of guy. So 2 p.m. Eastern. Now, if you don't have that link, actually, maybe Laura or Lori could put that link into the chat for you. Thank you, Rachel. Totally
Yes,
missed
I will
getting
put
that in
that
there.
link.
It's an actual Zoom, and you have to put it onto your own calendar. He doesn't have a registration. He just says, "Oh, here's the Zoom link." And so if you would like to attend it, and I don't believe we may be able to record it. We probably will record it in the background, but I don't know that we can distribute it. Do your best to be there live if you can. Okay.
I
So
put
that's the
that
Zoom
link
link.
out in the chat.
Yeah. Copy and paste it and put it in as an appointment on your calendar. For sure, it will not be any longer than an hour. I'd be surprised if it lands 45 minutes. Any questions at all that we can respond to, help with, whatever we have? Gosh, we're a whole 5 minutes early.
Yes. And Rachel has added the slide deck back into the chat again. There were a couple of folks who didn't see the initial slide deck when they came in, so it's in there. And we'll be getting the recordings out there, as Diane mentioned, next week. And we do also, on the page where we have the recordings for you, we also include the slide deck, the PDF, as well as the text file containing the prompts.
And we're having a little itty bitty issue with the registration link, so we'll make sure that gets fixed. It's on that page, but you guys probably won't go out to the recordings page until next week. And by then, Rachel will have us fixed up, I'm sure. Thanks, everybody, so much. You've been just a pleasure. I've seen smiling faces and totally appreciate having you here.
Thank you, Diane.
Take care. Everybody
Bye.
have a great weekend, okay?
You too.
Okay, bye-bye.